Hi, so now I want to show you some stretches that are really useful to correct the muscle imbalances that are often associated with not only headache, but also neck pain and postural dysfunction. So the first one I'm going to show is more of a self-mobilization that you can do at home rather than a stretch. But it can be really useful, especially if you're getting headaches coming from the top of your neck. So what I get you to do is to take the pads of your fingers and just place them over the bony prominence in your neck. So if you can just see where I've got my fingers in there. And then what you're doing is as you're turning your head to the same direction as your hand is, you're actually pulling your neck around from the back. So you've got your fingertips on your spine, you turn your head, so my fingertips are on the left side of my neck. I'm turning my head to the left, and as I turn my head, I'm not only giving a little bit of overpressure here through my chin, but I'm also giving a little bit of a rotation with my fingers at the back. I'll show you what it looks like from the back. So you tuck your fingertips in on the side of your spine there. Your other hand comes on your chin and you're turning your head to the left. A little bit of a pull here through these fingertips and a little bit of overpressure through your chin at the front. Obviously, you can do the other side as well. So you're reaching your hand behind your neck, behind your head, grabbing on there to the side of your spine with the pads of your fingers, turning the head to the right, a little bit of pressure through the pads of the fingers there, and then a little bit of overpressure through your chin with your right hand. So you don't have to do this both directions. If you're feeling that your movement's restricted, say just to the left, then you would just do this exercise to the left. So the purpose of this exercise is to get you nice and balanced and symmetrical with your movement. So if you're turning your head one way and then turning your head the other way, and you just can't get any further, this side's the stiff side, then you're going to reach your hand across, holding with the pads of your fingers on the right-hand side of your neck, and you're going to turn in the direction that it is restricted or painful. It's okay to feel a little bit of discomfort here, but I don't want you to push into a real strong pain, pinching pain. Just a little bit of a stretching pain will be okay. This is one that it's probably easier to teach you in person, but certainly one that you can give a go just to get that little bit more range of motion. So that's what I call a self-mobilization. So now for some stretches for the neck. The first one I like to do in standing, and it's more a stretch for the lats. So these muscles coming up the outside of your shoulder. So what we do is we come up into standing, we reach the arms up overhead, grabbing on. So we're going to stretch the right side out. We're going to grab on to our wrist with our left hand, and we're just going to stretch over to the side. Now it's really important here that you stay in a nice straight line, that you're not bending over as you stretch. So you want to be tail tucked under, spine nice and straight, good posture, and you're just stretching over to the side, feeling that stretch down through here. So with all these stretches, I recommend holding them for about 20 seconds and just doing 1 or 2 repetitions. There's no need to do any more than that. And certainly with these, you would do both sides. So you want to try to be as symmetrical as you can with your stretches. The next one I like to do is a stretch for the pecs, so these muscles across the front. And this is really important because we spend so much of our life with our hands in front of us, with our work, driving, washing up, cooking, everything's in front. So these pectoral muscles do get really tight, and that's what can cause us to be quite rounded through the thoracic spine. So the best way to do this is to stand up. Take your elbow so that it's out at about 90 degrees. So the shoulders at 90 degrees and the elbows at 90 degrees. Pop your hand against the wall and then you're just going to hold it there and turn your body away. So as you turn your body away, the forearm stays up against the wall and you're going to feel a beautiful stretch through the front of your shoulder. Now you can hold your arm up a little bit higher or a little bit lower. You certainly don't want it pinching in the shoulder. You want to feel that stretch through here. So in terms of where to hold your hand, really you're finding the point that's got the most resistance. So if you're holding your hand down here and it's giving you a really nice stretch, but you put it up a little bit higher, you don't feel it so much, then these are the fibers of the muscle that you need to stretch. So that's unique for everybody and really just a little bit of an experimentation at home. Once you find that tight area, go in gently into the stretch. We don't want you jerking the stretch or pulling too far into the end of range, just gently holding the stretch for about 20 seconds. So that's a stretch for the pectoral muscles. Next, we're going to look at a neck stretch. Now, you do have to be really careful with this stretch. If you've got joints in the spine that are very unstable and like to rotate from side to side, sometimes this stretch can actually make you worse rather than better. So if you've been doing this neck stretch, which is really commonly prescribed, and it's not working for you, then I would recommend you actually leave this one out. But a lot of people do find that this stretch is really useful, and certainly we're all very tight through these upper trap muscles. So really important with this one that we start with our shoulders down and back. Now what we can do is just take our ear to our shoulder. So the ear to the shoulder on this side is stretching the muscles out on the opposite side. So in this position, you should feel a nice gentle stretch. Now you can change the fibers that you're stretching by the direction of you're facing your head. So if I look down towards my armpit, I'll feel that the stretch moves. And then if I look up towards the ceiling, it moves again. And again, you would experiment with the position. So you'd start with that pure lateral flexion, side flexion, and then you would go down and up. And you would see where the strongest stretch is for you, and that would be where you would hold your stretch. So I don't want you rotating your head in that position. It's simply to find. So for me, the looking down gives me the strongest stretch. So that is where I would choose to do this stretch. And again, hold for 20 seconds. I can't emphasize enough how important it is not to overstretch. I often see people coming in that have been grabbing onto their neck and their shoulder and yanking them apart, trying to get more mobility in the neck, when the mobility needs to come from the joints, not the muscle. So really important if you are going to do this stretch, just to go nice and gently. You want to move until you just feel the stretch, and then that's where you stop and hold. So no jerking, no fast movements, no end of range stretching. And again, you're probably going to do both sides with this one. Again, looking for the spot that's got the tightest stretch and holding there for your 20 seconds. And doing 1 to 2 repetitions with your stretch. So that's probably the best ways to stretch out the front of the shoulder, the lats, and then the sides of the neck. Now, I also really love to stretch out the thoracic spine. Nearly always in neck pain and headache sufferers, there's stiffness through the thoracic spine. So my very favourite stretch for this is the cat camel. So this is the one where you go onto your hands and knees. So trying to get your knees under your hips and your hands under your shoulders. Now with this one, the cat camel, we're humping up and looking down between our knees, and then we're arching our back and looking up in front of us. So as we look down, we're breathing out. As we look up, we're breathing in. So this isn't a stretch that you would hold, it's more of a movement. So just working with your breath, you're going to move up and down. Once you've done about 5 of those, you can reach your hand through between your opposite hand and shoulder and stretch all the way through to get a nice stretch, not only through the back of the shoulder, but right into the thoracic. And you can actually lay your head all the way down there. And again, hold that stretch for about 20 seconds. The next one that's really good to move into from here is your child pose. So with this one, you're sitting all the way back onto your heels and stretching your arms forward. Trying to reach your head all the way down to the mat, but trying to keep your heels on your bottom on your heels. And again, you can hold that stretch for even longer, so a minimum of 20 seconds, but if that feels comfortable for you, you could even lay in that position for a good 2-3 minutes even. So there's just a few really basic, quick and easy stretches that you can do just to correct those muscle imbalances that we get that can lead to